Hi, I'm Lilith Avalon of Alpacas of Avalon. We've had alpacas for about 7 years, and we currently own 11 white alpacas. I'm very excited to share some information about alpaca fleece with you today. Alpaca fleece is an all-natural luxury product. It's 5 times warmer than wool, and it sheds moisture. It also does not have lanolin in it, and this means that many people who are allergic to wool can wear alpaca. Alpaca fleece is a delight to work with, so let me show you some things about it. In this video, I'm going to show you how to prepare a blanket fleece for processing at the mill. The blanket is the prime part of the fleece sheared off of each animal. If you picture a blanket thrown over the back of an animal, that's what's considered the blanket of the fleece. Now, skirting the fleece means that we're going to go around the edge of the fleece and remove any hairy parts. Why do we want to skirt a fleece? Well, there's several reasons. Alpacas grow both hair and fleece. The hair is wiry and it cannot be spun or felted. If it finds its way into yarn, it'll poke out and be itchy. Typically, alpacas grow hair on their legs, their belly, and their chest, but hair can also be mixed in throughout even the blanket of the fleece. The second reason to skirt a fleece is that it removes the dirt and debris, which would be added to the pre-processing weight by the mill. The mill is going to charge you by weight of the fleece it receives before it's washed. Now, skirting not only gets you a better quality product, but it saves you some money. This is a blanket which was carefully stored after shearing. Fleece should always be stored in clear plastic bags. And at shearing, we also add a tag to the bag so that we know what animal the fleece came from, and we know the year that the shearing was done, and we may also weigh the fleece and write that on the tag. We'll also add a dryer sheet to the bag. This reduces moisture and static, and if it's a scented sheet, it discourages moths. Here we are very quickly unrolling the blanket fleece. So what we're looking at here was the fleece next to the animal's skin. Any of the dirtier patches that you see are where the animal sweated. The denser the fleece is, the less dirt you'll find on this side. Now, as you can see, the blanket fleece kind of naturally holds together. Comes off the animal this way right at shearing. The first thing we're going to do in the skirting process is bounce this fleece to remove dirt. And the dirt is going to fall through the holes underneath the table. The second thing that we're going to do is look for and clean up what's called second cuts. Now, you may see them hop up off the blanket as the fleece is bounced. Second cuts happen when the shearer makes a second pass with the blade at the same area of the animal that's already been cut once. They typically do this because they didn't get quite close enough the first time. The second cuts look like this. And you can see this is a complete second cut at the shearing. You'll also get little tiny bits like these. And you have to remove these from the fleece because they're going to gum up the works. So once we've taken care of the second cuts, we are ready to roll the fleece over and have a look at the other side. This is easier with 2 people. We're just going to kind of squish it together into a little 2B bundle. And then sort of like rolling a sheet over that you're going to be folding, one person picks a direction, and then we go take all of it the same direction. And then we spread it back out. Now at this point, we're looking at the side of the fleece that was on the outside of the animal. So if you'd walk up to them and petted them, this is what you would have been touching. This side is always dirtier than the inside because the alpacas like to roll in the dirt and they get rained on. And the finer the fleece is, the more hay and debris it's going to pick up. So this side will probably require more attention than the inside did. At the point where an alpaca's neck meets its back, a dirty area that we call the bird's nest typically forms. Hay collects there, and it's usually way too much of a mess to try and clean it up. We typically just pull that piece of fleece out and throw it away. So this is half a blanket. And because it's a half, I can look at the blanket and figure out where it actually was on the animal. So this edge is hairy. This must have been down next to the belly. This looks like the bird's nest to me. So you can see there's like way extra dirt and hay right here than there is anywhere else in the fleece. Now, I may choose to clean this up if it's not too bad, or I may just take it and yank it apart, yank it off the fleece, and throw it away. But I can tell that this right here, this was right where the alpaca's neck met its back. And in that place, stuff collects and it sticks in there, and you can't get it out. Okay, the next thing I'm going to do is check for hair around the edges of the fleece, and I'm going to try to remove it. Now, this is hair, or hairier, and I can tell by the way it feels and that it looks different than the rest of the fleece. So I'm going to come along this edge and look for any really hairy bits and probably get rid of them. Now this is the back edge where, and you can kind of tell, this was where the alpaca's back end was. Some of this will wash out, but I don't really want to send it to the mill all this dirty. So I'm going to get rid of that too. Just let that go. Throw it under the table, get it out of the way. So this is looking a little better, a little cleaner. There's another little hairy patch. I'm going to get rid of that. And that top edge should not have any hair on it because that was along the top of the alpaca's back, and that should be some of the best fleece that we can find on the animal. So I'm mostly concerned about the edges next to their chest, their belly, and the back end. Okay, lastly, I'm going to look at and touch the fleece, and I'm going to pick out any big pieces of hay, dirt, and especially burrs that I find. I'm going to touch the fleece as well as look at it, because sometimes my hands will find things that my eyes don't, and then it's easy to pull them out. Now the fleece is ready to roll up, put back in the bag, or we can just stuff it back in the bag, and then it can go to the mill for processing. In another video, I'll talk to you about how to use more of the fleece, not just the blanket. Thanks for joining me to learn more about alpaca fleece. Check out my website, alpacasofavalon.com, to see pictures of my super cute alpacas and watch some of my other videos.